What is the 7 Sherman Short? Well, we're going to do a totally killer rifle build to explain just that in this video. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from Ultimate Reloader. This could be our coolest hunting rifle build yet. I am absolutely excited about what you see here. Let me talk about this build. This is going to be centered around this cartridge called 7 Sherman Short. Now, as a brief reminder, when I went to visit Piet Malan in South Africa, I hunted exclusively with a 6.5 Sherman Short, and spoiler alert, we have a build in the works on that as well. One of the things that we decided for the really long range shots was it'd be really cool to look at a 7mm. And so that would enable us to use like Berger's 195 EOL. We had the 156 EOL that we were using that worked great, but a little bit more wind resistance, long range, and a little bit more energy on target we felt like might be the absolute best of all worlds if you're going up into that larger game category. I took a Kudu, it was at 600 plus yards, and that was a little bit of a challenge for the 6.5. Would have been a little bit better, I think, with the 7. So the 7 Sherman Short, which I have right here, is very similar to the 6.5 Sherman Short. It's got a 40-degree shoulder. The shoulder is pushed back slightly. So if you compare this to a very similar cartridge like the 7 SOM, it's going to be doing a little bit better with the longer, higher BC bullets, preserving more of that case capacity. And the 40-degree shoulder is always good for efficiency of burn. This thing is a powerhouse. For a short action 7mm, it's going to be hard to do better than that. So we're going to have probably multiple follow-on stories. We're going to go a little bit deeper into the 7 Sherman Short. We've got the Ezekiel stock from Foundation here. We've got the Vesper Action, Vesper S from Bat Machine. Lots to talk about, but in this video, we're going to kick everything off. We're going to do a complete end-to-end build. We're going to chamber this barrel and whatnot. Let me talk specifically about the components that we're going to be using here. So the Vesper S, this is Bat's lightweight, short action, hunting action, right? And so what's cool about this is it's got the modular bolt system. This is a 308 bolt face here. Here's a magnum bolt face bolt section. I'm going to be able to swap that out so that we can accommodate the 7 Sherman Short. Now, since I have a 308 bolt face, there might be some follow-on builds coming up that would utilize that bolt face. 75-degree bolt throw, lightweight, sort of semi-skeletonized design. Weight savings is the game here. You can see there's some holes here. It's got a slimmed down trigger hanger situation compared to like the TR that we saw here on the channel a few times. And it's made by Bat Machine. Bat Machine is all about bench rest level quality in a variety of different types for actions. So that's the Vesper S, the short action. It's also available in medium and long action. Okay, custom rifle barrels blank for this. This is a thinner profile than I would normally use, and the goal here is to get away with carbon steel without fluting and without carbon for this particular build. Now, you'll recall recently here on the channel, we chambered our first custom rifle barrels blank for the 7 Swick project. That rifle was an absolute tack driver. Let me show you that real quick. That's the load right there. Okay, so this is one of the finest rifles I've ever built. So I reached out to CRB and I said, hey, I really liked what happened there with the 7 Swick. Could you supply a barrel for this project? And they were all in on that. And so we've got Foundation, Ezekiel. You'll recall that we've done multiple rifle builds with Foundation's Gideon stock. This stock is similar in that it's hybrid construction. So there is micarta, carbon fiber, and Kevlar. This stock adds a cheek riser, adjustable cheek riser, which I think is really awesome. There's also the NVCS system, night vision carriage system. So that's this guy up here. You'll notice we have a Picatinny rail on the side, so you've got a lot of configurability for those kind of advanced optics scenarios. It's got a 10.5-inch lightweight Arca rail. I love the fact that this is more or less full length here because I'm going to be able to clip into a tripod, which I do frequently when I'm hunting, probably most of the time now that I'm thinking about it, or I could clip on a bipod on the front, and you know, we run Arca on everything. M5 bottom metal inlet on the bottom. This is kind of the ultimate hunting rifle stock if you want this particular type of form factor. We've got Hawkins Precision M5 DBM bottom metal, and we've got a 300 Wisdom 3-round mag here. We can also, of course, up the round count if we want to. We're going to use the Bixen Andy Dakota trigger. This is a very, very solid performance. A ball trigger available at Bullet Central, and it goes down to a pound and just really, really does the job well for these types of hunting rifle scenarios. I've also got go and no-go gauges for Manson, and also reamers for 7SS and 6.5SS. As I mentioned, I've got another build plan. It's going to be really cool, and really looking forward to that. So I'm going to do a little bit more research. I'm going to get ready for the chambering and get this build underway. Well guys, I'm up here at the mountain shop. I just shot this rifle. I absolutely love this setup. This rifle is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to go hunting with it. I didn't talk about the scope yet. Let me tell you about what I went with here. We've got a Leupold Mark IV HD. This is the 6-24 by 52. Here was my thought process. I thought, I'm gonna throw a tactical scope on this rifle and at least, you know, go shooting at the range so that I have high magnification, I have the features that I like, right? But then I got to thinking about it and I thought, this is the perfect long-term scope to have a home on this rifle, and I'll tell you why. I love the way that the turrets work. You've got this locking button and it snaps back into position for elevation, right? You've been used to that if you have a Mark V HD. But the Mark IV HD also has a windage locking button. So if you push it in, you can dial windage, and then hear that click, it clicks back to 0, right? Why is this important? You're walking through the brush. did I bump my windage dial, right? With some sticks or resting up against a tree, going through thick brush, whatever. With the Mark IV HD, I don't have to worry about that because it's locked in place. And then I can also see very clearly if I accidentally push the button, which I don't think is going to happen. The weight is reasonable, and so, you know, I just can't compromise on a scope. I like my tactical scopes. I think I'm going to hunt with this exact setup. Now, for the muzzle device, I had the Hellfire Titanium on there, and I started to shoot some groups, and it wasn't grouping super good. Let me talk about my reloading setup here. So I looked at all of the Sherman load data. If you go to the Sherman Wildcat's website, they have a whole bunch of data. This is just the 7SS section. So we've got bullets ranging from 155s up to 195s. I selected 2 bullets for testing. The first was the classic Berger 180 hybrid. I mean, this is a magic bullet. It has shot well in everything that I've tried it in, literally. And then also when I was hunting with Piet Malan over in South Africa, we used the 156 6.5mm EOL, Extreme Outer Limits, with the 6.5 SS. That's the 6.5 Sherman Short. 5 shots, 5 kills. So I thought, I've got to try the 195 EOL with the 7 SS. So I loaded up some data. What I'm using here is, I'm using an inline cedar, and these are available at the Sherman Wildcat's website. N565 Vitavori powder, because we had that and there was low data for it. And so basically I mandrilled the necks to open them up just ever so slightly for optimum neck tension. I primed with, these are Federal match large rifle, right? So this is the GM 210M. I saw a mix of Magnum and non-Magnum large rifle primers in the load data, so those were already loaded. I decided to go with those, and they worked great. So I worked my way up to the max charge that was listed for the Berger 180. So I started at 63 grains of N565. Actually, it was 62 that I started at with the break. And then, you know, I didn't really like the groups that I was getting there. So I swapped the Area 419 Maverick on, uses the same mount. Went up to 63 grains. 4 shots went into a really tight group with 1 flyer. And so I thought, let's take it up to 64 grains, which was the max load listed in the Sherman data. This is what happened. 64 grains. N565, slightly shorter seating depth, suppressed. Feeding good. Oh yeah, that's shooting great. Extreme spread of 7.5. Yeah. Awesome. So this was a sub-half MOA group out of a lightweight hunting rifle with a thin profile barrel. Really, really happy with that. And more than that, I was really excited about the 7 foot per second SD for that group. So interestingly, 15 shots later, load development done for the Berger 180. I would 100% hunt with that load. Given that, I would be comfortable with a hybrid as a hunting bullet, which I believe I would be, and it might depend on what I was hunting. You know, if I'm hunting huge elk or something like that, maybe I would give it a second thought. And that's where we go to the 195 EOL. So this was literally a 6-shot load development exercise. I didn't see N565 on the data, so I had to do a little bit of interpolation. So I basically calculated what an equivalent charge would be for that weight of bullet. Don't use this data. Don't try this at home. Any of this. Always look up the data yourself, work up below max, etc., etc. Okay, so I started at 59.0 grains of N565 behind the Berger 195, and this is what happened. That's right. 3 shots at 100 yards went into 0.341 inches. So I decided to go 1 grain up to 60 grains of N565 behind the Berger 195 EOL, and this is what happened. Still a very good group, and as you can see here, I adjusted my zero, got my windage and my elevation caps set. Perfect zero, 3 shots at 100 yards went into 0.560. Now the SD was a little bit higher on these two groups. I think it was 8 and 11 or something like that. Still really, really good for hunting, and I would not hesitate to hunt with this load, but I felt like at 60 grains, I was seeing just a bit of pressure, a bit of ejector pocket impression and case head swipe. So if I was going to hunt, I would prefer the 59 grain load. Now, there we're at about 26. Let's see what the data was here. Average was 2687 for 59 and 2718 for 60 grains. So if I was choosing between the Berger 180 and the Berger 195, it's a bit of a trade-off of weight versus BC, and you know, the characteristics of the bullet are different between the EOL construction and the hybrid construction. Now I was talking with Derek over at Sherman Wildcats, and he suggested taking a look at the 175 Elite Hunter, which is going to be in excess of 2,900 feet per second and has bullet construction that is intended for hunting. So at the end of the day, this rifle is what I would consider the ultimate medium to large game hunting rifle. Deer, elk, bear, I mean, including brown bear. I would not hesitate to use this rifle on any of those animals. And also the sheer flexibility. We've got a full-length lightweight rail, so I can use it on a tripod. I can use it with a bipod. I've got a magnum, a 7mm magnum. This performance is pretty much equivalent to like a 7 rem mag, and could potentially even go a little bit further based on what I was seeing here. In a short action, I've got a detachable 3-round AICS magazine. The action and the magazine are set up to handle 6.5 PRC, and with the cartridge overall lengths that I was running here, which is just over 2.9 inches, everything fit perfectly. So in terms of comparing the 7SS to its nearest competitor, which would be something like the 7 SOM, there are a couple distinct advantages that the 7SS has. The shoulder is bumped a little bit further back. The shoulder angle is bumped out to 40 degrees, and it's got half the body taper. So it's got a very similar case capacity, but it has more performance potential because you're not having to shove long high BC bullets like a Berger 180, for example, the classic 180 into the case, which means you're losing capacity, you're shoving it beyond the neck to shoulder junction, which can give you more erratic velocities. So basically, if I had to say it as simple as possible, I think the 7SS squeezes as much 7mm performance as you're going to get out of a short action. It's a magnum. It pushes 7mm short action magnum performance to the absolute bleeding limit. And that's why I think this is the ultimate hunting rifle if you're looking for a short action. right? You guys know I'm a huge fan of the 7PRC. That's maybe a medium action, really kind of a long action cartridge. We might reinvestigate that a little bit here on the channel in the coming months. But again, 7SS, this thing is a tack driver. It's got the velocity. This package is really handy, and with the 24-inch barrel, I've got the right trade-off of being able to run a suppressor, having a package that I can navigate through the woods, and something that I'm comfortable packing up steep terrain. So I couldn't be more happy with this hunting rifle package. What I'd like to know is, what do you think about this rifle, and what do you think about the 7SS? Drop a comment and I'll meet you in the comments section. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.